Well, also looking at the elections in Indonesia for us today is Philip Turle, our foreign editor, who's with me. And Philip, some results are starting to trickle in now in Indonesia, very early results. What can you tell us?
Well, they're pretty much confirming what the opinion polls have been saying in Indonesia over the past few weeks, putting Prabowo Subianto in the lead. These are from 3 different polling institutes that have come out with these results just in the last few minutes, basically. He's on 59.8%, almost 60%, which is pretty good for him, because if he gets that score, it means there won't be a runoff vote, which is what would happen if any candidate gets less than 50%. So it looks like he could be elected after just the first round. Prabowo Subianto on 59.8%. Next, Anies Baswedan, he's on nearly 23%, 22.8%. And then in third position, Ganjar Pranowo, who's on 17.3%, almost on 18% of the vote. So this is pretty much what was already predicted by the opinion polls. And if you look back at past elections in Indonesia, by reputable outlets, these kind of flash polls, exit polls from the polling stations have proved pretty reliable when it comes down to actually publishing the final result.
OK, so it could well be Subianto then, who is the country's next president. He's the current defence minister. What can you tell us about him, about his vision now for Indonesia? Right,
well, he's 72 years old, and he has the youngest running mate, who is Gibran Rakabuming Raka, who is the son of the outgoing President Joko Widodo. He's only 36, and this is the youngest that any running mate has been. Normally that is not allowed, because they're not allowed to run at that age. They have to be slightly older, but there's been a change to allow him to be the accompanying running mate. That has added as a huge boost to the popularity of Prabowo Subianto, because he is linked to the former regime of President Suharto, which was a harsh dictatorial regime that fell in 1998 after 32 years in power. And he is linked to the former President Suharto, as being his son-in-law. And there are concerns in Indonesia that if he gets into office, we may see a slide back to a much more hardline, more dictatorial, less democratic regime in Indonesia than we've seen under Joko Widodo. That said, Joko Widodo is really popular, and he is the one president that nobody really wanted to see disappear in Indonesia, because he's got an 80% approval rating. But unfortunately, because he's done his 2 mandates, he can't run for a third one. So in pole position, because he's got Joko Widodo's son as his running mate, we have Prabowo Subianto, who has vowed to continue in the same vein that the outgoing president has continued in. That's to say, not criticising too much China on one side, not criticising too much the United States on the other, so that they will invest in the country, bring in their ready, wanted dollars in Indonesia. That has made the country much more stable over the past 10 years, and made it more interesting as a country that people want to invest in. Now, just a quick look at the other 2 candidates. Anies Baswedan, he's a provincial governor of Jakarta. He's vowed to move that international policy more to the right, saying that he is open to criticise countries when they don't toe the line. For example, I think there will be a more difficult relationship with China over Taiwan, for example. We're not really sure what his relationship would be with the United States if he was elected to power, but he said he wouldn't hesitate to criticise one country if it invaded another one. And he's also got a plan to move the capital from Jakarta to Borneo. So there is a plan to do that. He has questioned whether that is going to be a good idea. And finally, Ganjar Pranowo, he's the former governor of Central Java. He's the young upcoming candidate. He was very popular at one time, and thought that he could have won the election, but unfortunately, because the president's son has joined forces with Prabowo Subianto, he's seen his popularity rating fall quite sharply.